Things change quickly these days. Growing up now is a lot different from growing up all those years ago in the small country town of Kyneton. There's no more running around in the backyard for us. Not that we actually did very much of that given that we had a Nintendo, but still. I grew up in different times, when we didn't have Facebook to lean on and clothing was much more fashionable. We didn't have a laptop or an iPad or a mobile phone. I didn't even send my first email until I started uni in 2001. Yet even without these things, I would say I had a happy childhood. There were still the usual pressures, of course, like worrying about how sexy you looked to impress the several people you had a crush on, or mowing lawns to help feed the family. But the idea could never have occurred to us that there would one day be things that would let you chat for free to a friend overseas, or make videos that anyone could watch, or things that could keep an eye on you when you least expect it. I think back to my childhood fetish for dinosaurs and wonder whether all the books I've kept in boxes for years and years should have been recycled long ago. Has learning about stuff by reading become outdated? Are books just boring? Don't listen to her, she can't read. But it is pretty cool when large retail stores install massive animatronic creatures to drive sales of their dinosaur merchandise. Even if it does sound more like a cow. And then there's the genius who invented interactive games to go on the floors of shopping centres to keep children out of the shops so that we can all just browse in peace. But when I'm waiting for my plane at the airport, can't I just eat my burger without being bombarded with QR codes promising to entertain me while I eat? Can't I just enjoy my food? Social media is now integrated everywhere, to the extent that we might find ourselves liking things before we actually think about whether we like them or not. And cameras permeate our world to the point that we probably just don't even see them anymore. They can be benevolent, of course, and might only catch us out every now and then in a slightly awkward moment. At other times, their function can be more ominous. There are so many questions. Why, on a recent trip to the Gold Coast with my brother and sister, did they ignore the flat-screen TV in our room and instead watch programs on their mobile devices? And why, when looking for King Tut's putt-putt to play some mini-golf, did they go straight to Google Maps rather than ask someone who lived close by for directions? They were actually using their phones like this, even though they're overacting for us here. What does this tell us about ourselves? Have we changed so much? Have our previous identities just floated away in one of David Bowie's bubbles while making our way through the labyrinth of digital culture? The big question is, are we no longer the same people we were? But hang on, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Let's start the unit. All of these questions and more will be answered, or probably not, in dun 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 dun. Tiffany, are you seriously telling me we couldn't get permission to use the Superman theme song? Right, well this sounds shit. Let's start again.
Hi everyone, I'm Adam Brown. Hopefully you've already seen me in the welcome video that I posted last week, and if you missed out on that, please do catch up and have a look. But nonetheless, welcome to the unit once again. I'm the unit chair for ALC201 Exploring New Media, and I look forward to seeing some of you in person in the Monday Burwood seminars that I'll be taking. I'll also be joined in the teaching of this unit by another couple of tutors, Lara Hedberg, who'll be taking the other Burwood seminars, and Neil Henderson, who'll be taking the Geelong Warn Ponds campus seminars, so welcome to them too. I really hope that you get a lot out of this unit, and as you'll see later on in this video, I like to stress quite often that what you get out of the unit is really what you put into it, so be active, get engaged and get involved. I look forward to talking to all of you, if possible, quite intensively throughout the trimester online, and that might be partly through the Cloud Deakin discussion forums, but in particular in the public realm, such as through Twitter and the YouTube comments. The people who really put the effort and the time in there are the people who get the most out of the unit, using digital media to understand it, and that's really the only way. I've been making these videos, or what I call meLectures, for the past 3 years now, and you're going to see a lot of this process as you move through the unit. This week's meLecture, for instance, is actually made up of 3 different years of material. Right now I'm talking to you a couple of days before I upload it, and probably when you view it. But it also mainly consists of stuff that I did last year, and even partly some stuff from the year before that. What does this mean? Well, there's 2 different things that I want to draw out from this. One, we can relate it to our first module on online identity. What does it mean that I'm talking to you almost at the same time now? And is it any different that I'm talking to other students from last year or the year before as if it was you? What does it mean about credibility and authenticity? Do you just trust it as much as anything else? This is what digital media has led to. The other thing is that I really wanted to draw out from this is something that I've developed a really strong impression of, and I'm really grateful for, I suppose, is the recyclability of content. And I hope that you get a sense of this going through this unit. I'm sort of the weird guy who goes down the street and suddenly I just see a nice sunset, I want to take a picture of it. Well, maybe that's not all that weird, a lot of people do that. Or I might take a nice panning shot when I go for a walk, thinking that might come in handy later on. And maybe it does some years down the track. The great thing about digital media is, and how cheap external hard drives are now, and they didn't used to be a couple of years ago, is that you can create a big data bank of material, whether it be custom-made film footage or photographs or whatever. And I do that all the time, because in the end, what you take now, which might seem meaningless, could actually become really useful for your assessment, even in this unit, or just down the track. Another thing I wanted to mention here is the process of accessing readings in this unit. You might have already read Study Note 0, which gives the details of this, and please do make sure you have a look at it. I don't provide links to the e-readings in this unit, and you may have already rolled your eyes and given a groan when you saw that. But what I've seen and what I've been concerned about and somewhat troubled by is that some students have a lot of trouble finding readings through the library catalogue, which is essentially the same kind of process that we expect you to do for research right across your degree. So I give all of the source details, fully referenced in the Harvard system, so you can't get the referencing wrong if you use them in assessment, and I want you to spend probably between 5 and 10 and 15 seconds finding them through the library catalogue. If it takes you any more time than that, and remember, if you're going to spend a few hours reading a reading, you might as well spend 15 seconds finding it. If it takes you any more than 15 seconds, then that's exactly the reason why I'm doing this exercise. And you might hate me for the first couple of weeks, and you know, students have sent out tweets and that kind of thing, but I'm sorry, I will not change my mind about this. This is for your benefit, not my own. So please do make sure you access and read the readings, and again, by doing so, you get so much more out of seminars and online discussions. The last thing that I wanted to mention in this meLecture, at least from my perspective in 2015, stay tuned for a lot of other information and important advice, is the importance of being active. In the last couple of years of ALC201, I've seen some students, and it's usually admittedly a minority of students, who do amazingly well, who get so much out of the unit. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they've got it out of assessment, although that is a big part of it. They are active, they're engaged, and they get involved. They start a following, they start accruing a following, and that kind of thing will last much longer than this unit, much longer than their degrees. The most important people are not your teachers in a big way, they're actually your peers, because when you go into the workforce, they are going to be the people in the media and cultural industries around you. So you're actually developing that kind of authentic online persona now, and that's really important. And if you don't take my word for it, here's a testimonial from one student who did ALC201 in 2014. Can you please tell us your name and what degree you're in?
My name's Elizabeth. I'm doing media communication, but majoring in journalism, and I'm in 3rd year now.
Great. And did you start to use Twitter at the beginning of this unit? Is that new to you?
Actually, because of the unit, I had to make a Twitter account, but then I had an opportunity regarding journalism because of the class where I had to live tweet a whole event. It was what was it? It's EECB. It's like multiculturalism in like politics and stuff like that, and they got a bunch of students that were active in the media, and we basically just live tweeted the event. We got a free meal out of it. It was really awesome. I got exposure and a really good reference letter as well. So yeah, I think that's the best thing to come out of the unit.
Fantastic, great. So you hadn't used Twitter before the unit at all.
No.
Did you have a certain perspective on it? Did you sort of, what was it?
Definitely, because I have a lot of younger friends who use Tumblr, and they put like photos of Twitter on it, and there's like really kind of risque things that people write, you know, really blatant polarized opinions, and I thought that's what Twitter was. So when I had it at the start of the unit, I just followed a bunch of journalists and stuff, but then eventually I got the random people who just like say whatever they want on any issue, and it turned out that they were just a loud minority all in all, and it completely just got rid of that vision that I had of Twitter. That was just people with loud opinions.
Fantastic. So it's becoming more and more of a professional kind of networking medium. It's great to hear that it's been working for you.
Oh yeah, definitely. When John Safran retweeted me once, I like freaked out. It was so cool. I've
never had him retweet me. I'm very disappointed now. You're doing better than me. Great. And how did you find the video making experience as well? Is that your first time making video?
Yeah, definitely. Like I did film classes in first year and second year, but nothing that I would have put online, and it's kind of embarrassing because my mum found it on my computer because I fell asleep when I uploaded it, and she started watching it and like sharing it to all my cousins and stuff like that. They don't speak English, they speak Spanish, so they just saw me like talking in front of a camera for 5 minutes, but that was really interesting, like just to know that someone else, at least one person, appreciated me uploading something like that, and she learned something about Foucault as well. I was really happy about it.
And of course, relating to the issue of being active online in the public realm, we need to be careful about how we communicate with others, whether this be students in the unit or other people in other places. The risk is quite minimal. We've never had an ALC201 troll, but nonetheless, if you're ever concerned about anything in the unit, please do feel free to get in touch with me at any time. Well, that's about all I need to say for this meLecture, at least from my perspective in 2015. I will now hand you over to Adam from last year. See you next time. As you'll no doubt have already noticed, the unit guide is now online, as are the Study Notes 0 and Study Notes 1 documents. These Study Notes documents are essential to keep track of throughout the unit, not least of all because they list the reading or readings that you need to engage with throughout the trimester, but also because they have extra content, extra case studies and examples to think through, study questions to respond to in the discussion forums, and also extra video clips that you might like to watch. There are no texts that you need to buy for this unit. I'll also provide detailed assignment instructions and examples on Cloud Deakin throughout the trimester. The details of the Module 1 exercise will be uploaded by the end of the week, although I want you to focus on exploring and discussing this week and not stressing about assessment. I recommend that you log into Cloud Deakin on a regular basis, although I'll usually only post one news item on the homepage per week. To get more immediate and valuable updates, I strongly encourage you to do the things that I've listed in the unit guide and in the study notes document. Follow us on Twitter. I've even dedicated an entire Twitter profile to this unit, and you can search by the ALC201 hashtag. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel and my WordPress blog for email updates. I've decided not to go with Facebook and Google Plus this trimester just to keep things manageable, although if you'd like to also use those kinds of platforms, do feel free. The use of these kinds of real-world media beyond Cloud Deakin are also embedded into the unit's assessment, therefore feeding into the unit's learning outcomes regarding discipline-specific knowledge, communication skills, and digital literacies. So jump in and give it a go, it's really important. In fact, I was pretty generous when I made the welcome video last year when I stressed the optional nature of using digital media in the unit. If you're doing a unit on digital media, you need to use it. The idea of just studying it, and that you can do so without actually engaging with it in a practical manner, is, I would argue, completely flawed. You wouldn't review a movie without watching it, or a book without reading it, or a game without playing it, and if you did, you wouldn't be seen to have much credibility. I understand that there is an element of anxiety when it comes to using digital media for many people. Everyone is starting from a different level of digital knowledge and literacy, so everyone will get something different out of the unit. In some seminars, we're going to do a bit of what I call silent socializing, which involves communicating online for 5 to 10 minutes, even though we're surrounded by people in an intimate setting. So when you come to your seminars, make sure you bring your device or devices of choice, whether it be a laptop, a tablet, or your phone. And on another important point, as I've written in the study notes this week, it is not the role of the teaching staff in this unit to teach you how to use digital media, but to facilitate your learning about its use. You have a wealth of user-friendly and intuitive applications available to you, often directly accessible from your smartphone. And the answer to almost every question can be found via a quick Google search or a YouTube demo video. One of Tiffany's daily rituals serves as a perfect illustration of this issue. Think about how you learned how to use Facebook. Did someone show you? Did you read a book about it? No. You learned by observing what other people were doing, by experimenting with what you had available, and just as importantly, as Tiffany is showing here, by repetition. And if you were having trouble with something, you probably Googled the answer or asked someone on Facebook. Keep Tiffany's lesson here in mind as you work through the unit. The answer is quite literally at your fingertips.